All right, let's talk about something that's been buzzing in the fantasy football world. 2026 rankings and why this year might be the most unpredictable yet. Picture this. You're drafting and you're staring at a QB like Josh Allen, who's been dominant for 6 straight years, but somehow has an ADP of 22nd overall. What the hell? That's not just a drafting dilemma. It's a philosophical question about consistency versus opportunity. Because here's the kicker. Allen's floor is so high that even if he has a down year, he'll still outperform most QBs. But if you miss out on him, you're basically gambling on a group of players who've all had their ups and downs. And that's the real challenge in 2026, figuring out who's truly elite versus who's just riding a hot streak. Now let's zoom out. The SportsLine model isn't just throwing numbers at you. It's simulating the entire NFL season 10,000 times. That's not just data crunching. It's like building a parallel universe where every possible outcome is tested. And guess what? This model has a history of nailing sleeper picks and busts. Think about it. They predicted Daniel Jones' breakout, Terry McLaurin's slump, and even called Devon Achane's rise to elite status. That's not luck. It's a system that's learning from the chaos of the NFL. But here's what many people don't realize. Models aren't perfect. They're great at identifying trends, but they can't predict injuries, coaching changes, or the sheer madness of a player like Lamar Jackson bouncing back after a down year. It's like trying to forecast the weather with a computer. It'll give you probabilities, but Mother Nature always has a twist. Let's dive into the RB rankings. Bijan Robinson's contract extension is a huge red flag for teams, right? Wait, no. It's a green light for fantasy managers. Why? Because when a team gives you a long-term deal, they're investing in your future production. Robinson's efficiency last year was insane. More yards with fewer touches. But here's the catch. The Falcons are probably going to ride him hard in 2026, which means his workload might dip. That's the paradox of success. Meanwhile, Jahmyr Gibbs in Detroit, he's the ultimate, if you give me the ball, I'll make you regret it player. The Lions let David Montgomery walk, and now Gibbs is the feature back. But here's the thing. If you draft him too early, you might be passing on someone like Jonathan Taylor, who's not just a good runner. He's a touchdown machine. Taylor's 90.5 yards per game is absurd. But is he a one-year wonder because of his contract year? Or is this the start of a dynasty? That's the kind of question that keeps fantasy managers up at night. And what about the WRs? Puka Nacua's 107.2 yards per game in 2025 is mind-blowing. He's not just a volume guy. He's a consistency monster. But here's the twist. The Rams' offense might finally start leaning on him more, which could mean even more targets. But then there's Ja'Marr Chase, who's built his career on being a top 5 receiver regardless of who's throwing him the ball. That's rare. Most WRs need a QB to thrive, but Chase, he's like a magnet. And Jackson, Smith, and Jigba, the guy's got the potential to break records. But does Seattle's pass-heavy approach actually translate to points? Or is it just a gimmick? That's the kind of debate that makes fantasy drafts so much fun. Now let's talk about the T's. Trey McBride's story is fascinating. He started off slow with Kyler Murray, but when Jacoby Brissett took over, he exploded. That's not just a QB change, it's a coaching philosophy shift. Brissett's more of a traditional passer, which means more short passes and red zone opportunities for McBride. But Brock Bowers in Vegas? He's coming off an injury-plagued season, yet his FPPG ranking went up. That's confusing. How do you get better stats when you're on the field less? Maybe the Raiders are finally figuring out how to use him. And Colston Loveland? A rookie who stepped in for an injured KMET and never looked back. That's the kind of story that makes you wonder, what if every team had a backup TE like that? The NFL's depth at this position is wild. So where does this leave us? The 2026 fantasy football landscape is a mix of proven stars, rising talents, and players who might be sleeping giants. But here's the real takeaway. Models like SportsLine are powerful tools, but they're not infallible. They can't predict the human element, the injuries, the trades, the moments of brilliance that defy analytics. That's why, no matter how much data you have, you still need to trust your gut. Because in the end, fantasy football isn't just about numbers, it's about storytelling. And the best stories are the ones that surprise you.